Michael Popok, Legal AF, with some troubling news coming out of Texas. The governor of Texas has pardoned Daniel Perry, who shot and killed and was convicted of murder by a jury of his peers when he killed a Black Lives Matter protester in 2020, having charged into the crowd apparently on purpose, and then tried to avail himself of the stand your ground defense to say that because the person he shot had a AK-47 slung over his shoulder, he felt threatened and therefore had the right to shoot to kill. That's not what a jury in Austin and Travis County had to say, but according to Governor Abbott, he was wrongly prosecuted and wrongly convicted by a jury in Texas, and now Mr. Perry is a free man. According to the district attorney for Travis County, Jose Garza, he had the following quote, which of course we agree with. They, meaning the parole board, the parole recommendation board, and Governor Abbott have sent a message to Garret Foster's family, to his partner, and to our community that his life does not matter. That they have sent the message that the service of the Travis County community members who served on the grand jury and trial jury does not matter. We will not stop fighting for justice. Instead, Governor Abbott said that the stand your ground defense is so strong that he will not allow a jury who sat in a courtroom and a grand jury who indicted, who sat in courtrooms, listened to evidence and testimony, listened to the defense that was being raised by Mr. Perry and convicted him and indicted him nonetheless, that he would not allow that those citizens of Texas to nullify a defense in support of the Second Amendment in Texas, even at the expense of somebody's life. The facts that were laid out to the jury that convicted Daniel Perry of murder. Yeah, he was a former Army sergeant, so he knew how to use a gun. They didn't believe his stand your ground defense. They said that he purposely drove into a liberal community in Texas. Yes, for those around the world, there is one. It's in Austin. He went to Austin. He purposely confronted the Black Lives Matter protesters, drove his car into a protest, confronted the Garret Foster, who, yes, because Texas in that area has an open carry law, you can wear your AK-47 there, confronted him and then conjured up and made up a fictitious defense that he feared for his life when he shot and killed in cold blood Mr. Foster. That should be murder. That should not be recommended for pardon by the Texas Pardon and Parole Board. And of course, Abbott shouldn't have signed it. But now we have the proclamation, we'll put it up on the screen now, of Governor Abbott absolving Mr. Perry of murder as if it didn't happen, as if Garret Foster didn't matter and didn't happen. And now he's going to be able, Mr. Perry, he's going to be able to go for an expungement of his records and close and seal them and never have to report them. He killed a human being when he put himself in the middle of a protest that he shouldn't have been at, and then created a fake story about stand your ground in order to have a self-defense. And what does Abbott have to say about it? And MAGA? Prosecutor was wrong for bringing the case. Prosecutor was wrong for bringing the case. The prosecutor wasn't playing politics. Governor Abbott was. And how dare the Texas Parole and Pardon Board, which has to recommend the pardons to the governor in Texas, how dare they, as amateurs, try to retry the case? They said they looked at the witness testimony, they looked at the transcripts, they looked at the evidence, and they reached a different conclusion. But that's why we have a jury trial system in this country. And there's an appeal system in Texas that Mr. Perry failed at. So having failed at his appeal, having failed at his conviction, these yahoos on the parole board, because Abbott wanted it, because Abbott actually signaled the day of the conviction that if a pardon recommendation was brought to his desk, he would sign it. Let me repeat that. On the day of the conviction of Perry by the jury in Texas, the governor said, "Send me a pardon and I will sign it." Okay, so they did. And that's exactly what this rubber stamp kangaroo court of a parole board, probation, parole and pardon board did. Like, don't even, I would have more respect for them. Rather than say, well, we reviewed all the evidence as some sort of super appeal board, which they're not, or some sort of super trial board or judge board, which they're not. If you look at the credentials of these people, they're not qualified to make those determinations, to play God, right? Perry already played God, judge and executioner of Foster. And for those, I saw some statistics, and it's not about black and white, it's not about politics, but I saw a statistic recently, one of the many polls where my eyes pop out, that said that Donald Trump is pulling 20% with black Americans. First of all, I don't believe that. Second of all, if you think MAGA likes you, if you think MAGA supports you, think again. I mean, there's a famous line when somebody accused George Bush of hating black people. You do the math with the governor of Texas and ask yourself, if Daniel Perry was black and the person he killed was white, would he be exonerated and pardoned? I mean, do I have to leave much of a timer on here for you to answer that question, as rhetorical as it is? We got to follow these stories. We got to bring them to you here on the MeidasTouch Network. We got to bring it to you here on Legal AF. And now you know why we call it Legal AF. Somebody was cold-blooded, killed by somebody in a methodical way who put himself right in the middle of the BLM protest in order to shoot himself, a black person. He did, and the governor of the state has, just as he said he would do on the day of the conviction, he just granted the pardon. And if the citizens of Texas and around the country don't hold MAGA accountable, I don't know what else we can do. All we can do is talk about it here. Don't blow smoke or sunshine. Give you the facts, and with the expertise of being a trial lawyer and a lawyer, that's what we do on Legal AF. On Wednesdays, I do it with Karen Friedman-Agnifilo, former prosecutor. On Saturdays, my co-founder Ben Meiselas, and we wrap up at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on this YouTube channel. The week's developments, the intersection of law and politics, right here. Just like this, except I got co-anchors on both days. And then I do hot takes like this one about every hour at that same intersection. You like lawyers talking about things, they know what they're talking about, you come to the right place. MeidasTouch YouTube channel, help them get to 3 million free subscribers. Yes, free, before the November election. So if you like what I'm doing, I'm Michael Popok. You can go over and follow me on all things social media at MS Popok. We got a new Patreon. You like the law at the intersection of law and politics? You're going to love our Patreon, patreon.com/legalaf, where we're doing tutorials and teachable moments and Professor Benz and Popok talks to teach you about criminal law and civil law, constitutional law, procedure, things that matter for lawyers and non-lawyers alike in an entertaining way. It's like a TED Talk. And a law school class had a baby. That's our Patreon, patreon.com/legalaf. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.